Oh, there's so many yummy vegetarian options out there. You could try like lentil soup, veggie burgers, tofu stir fry. The possibilities are endless.
All right, let's talk about something real. If you're a freelancer, a contractor, or you run your own show, you know the feeling, right? The incredible high of landing a huge project. And then that pit in your stomach during a slow month. That up and down income feels like the price you pay for freedom. But what if it didn't have to be that way? Today, we're going to break down a plan, step by step, to build real financial stability on what can feel like pretty shaky ground. We're talking about turning that chaos into control. If you've ever felt like you're the only one out there wrestling with this, just look at this number. Seriously, you are so far from alone. A study from TD Bank found that almost 40% of adults, that's a wild 10 million Canadians, are in the exact same boat, trying to manage a fluctuating income. This isn't some niche problem. It's a huge and honestly growing part of our economy. So that leads us right to the big question, doesn't it? The whole reason we're here. When your income is a total roller coaster, but your bills are in a perfectly straight, fixed track, how on earth do you build real stability? How do you create predictability where there just isn't any? Well, we're about to lay out the game plan to do exactly that. Okay, so here's our game plan. First, we're going to dig into the challenge itself. Then we'll cover the pay yourself first method, which is a total game changer. After that, we'll get practical with building a budget and a safety net. We'll even tackle taxes and then wrap it all up with a big mindset shift, how to think like a business. Let's dive in. All right, first up, the volatility challenge. Look, before we can fix the problem, we've got to really understand it, just how real and how big of a deal this is for so many people. And, well, this is the reality. We're not just talking about little bumps here and there. For a third of people with an income that jumps around, their earnings can swing by over 25% from one month to the next. Just think about that. Imagine your paycheck being a quarter bigger or a quarter smaller every single month. Without a solid plan, it's so easy to reach for the credit card as a safety net during those lean times, and that can lead you right into a dangerous spiral of high-interest debt. So, how do we fight back against all that unpredictability? This brings us to what might be the single most powerful strategy we're going to talk about today. Pay yourself first. Seriously, this is the fundamental shift that can change absolutely everything. This really lays out the core problem perfectly, doesn't it? On one side, you've got money flowing in, whenever, in totally random amounts. A big payment one week and then crickets for the next 3. But on the other side, your mortgage, your rent, your car payment, they're all due like clockwork on the first of the month. It's this total mismatch that causes so much stress. Our whole goal here is to build a bridge between these two completely different worlds. And here it is, the solution in its simplest form. You create your own predictable paycheck. That's it. You basically become your own payroll department. You set up an automatic recurring transfer of a fixed amount. That's the key word, fixed, from your business account to your personal one. By doing this, you're the one forcing some order onto your finances. You are literally smoothing out those peaks and valleys yourself, creating that stable, predictable income that your personal budget is begging for. Okay, but that brings up a really important question, right? How much should you actually pay yourself? You can't just pull a number out of a hat. And that's where the next piece of the puzzle comes in, your budget. This is the part where you have to get real, brutally honest about your financial situation. So your first mission, should you choose to accept it, is to track everything for a month. Every single dollar. You need a clear picture. You can use an app like Mint, or you need a budget, or hey, even a simple spreadsheet works. Then you've got to categorize it. Start with your fixed costs. These are the non-negotiables. Think rent, utilities, loan payments. This number is your bare bones budget, the absolute minimum you need to get by. Then you list all the discretionary stuff, the nice to haves. Streaming services, that daily coffee, eating out. We're going to call those your perks. But what happens if you do all that budgeting and you find out your essential expenses are actually higher than your average income? Okay, don't panic. This is a critical moment, but you've got 2 main levers you can pull. The first one is on the income side. You've got to diversify. Can you add a side hustle, maybe drive for a rideshare service, or take on a small weekend project to bring in a little extra? The second lever is on the spending side, and this one's all about a mindset shift. That discretionary spending, it's not a guarantee, it's a perk. It's a reward you get to enjoy only after all your essentials are covered and you've got the income to support it. So once you've got a solid handle on your budget, it's time to build in some resilience. Let's talk about creating your safety net. That all-important financial cushion for when things, inevitably go a little sideways. Okay, I really want you to listen closely to this part because it is absolutely critical. You've probably heard the standard advice, right? Save 3 months of expenses in an emergency fund. Well, for anyone who's self-employed, that is just not enough. You need a much bigger cushion. You should be aiming for at least 6 months worth of your bare bones expenses. And why the big difference? It's because you don't have the same safety nets that traditional employees do. There are no paid sick days, there's no company disability plan, there's no EI to fall back on. If you can't work, the income just stops. This fund is your only safety net. And here's how you actually use it in the real world. When you hit a slow month, you don't panic. You just draw from your emergency fund to pay yourself that regular budgeted salary we talked about. You maintain stability, no stress. Then, when you have a fantastic month with a big influx of cash, your number one job, your absolute top priority is to pay that money back and top up the fund. You do that before you even think about any extra spending. It's a really disciplined cycle of borrowing from yourself and then paying yourself back. All right, deep breath. Let's tackle the topic that probably causes the most anxiety and the biggest financial headaches out there: taxes. I'm telling you, ignoring them until tax season rolls around is one of the single most expensive mistakes a self-employed person can make. Getting this right is completely non-negotiable.
The secret to mastering your taxes is actually pretty simple. It's all about organization, right from day one. Seriously, before you do anything else, open a separate bank account for your business and get a dedicated business credit card. This is not optional, it's essential. It'll make tracking your expenses for write-offs 1,000 times easier. And here's a pro tip. Talk to an accountant before you think you're in trouble. As a solid rule of thumb, you should be moving 20 to 25% of every single payment you get straight into a separate savings account that you labeled taxes.
And this chart shows you exactly why this is so important. When a client pays you $1,000, that is not $1,000 in your pocket. A big chunk of that, maybe $250, already belongs to the government for income tax. And if you charge sales tax like HST or GST, that's another slice that you're just holding on to for the CRA. Forgetting this simple fact is how you end up with a massive, terrifying tax bill come April. And this brings us to our final and maybe the most important section of all. Every single strategy we've talked about, the budgeting, the saving, the tax planning, it's all held together by one crucial mindset shift. It's time to stop thinking of yourself as just a worker and start thinking like the CEO of your own one-person business. Now, this is a big one. So many people who are new to being self-employed make this mistake. They set their rate based on what a regular employee makes. But you are not a regular employee. Your hourly rate has to cover way more than just your time. It has to cover your entire cost of doing business. And this comparison shows the difference perfectly. See, as an employee, you're working under this huge umbrella of costs that your company just takes care of. Your computer, all the software, the internet, your benefits, even their share of payroll taxes. But the second you go out on your own, that umbrella is just gone. Poof. Every single one of those costs lands squarely on your shoulders. And if your hourly rate doesn't account for all of that, you might feel busy, but you're not actually running a profitable business. So let's apply some real, proven business principles to your personal finances. First, healthy businesses diversify. They never, ever let one single client make up more than 60% of their revenue. You should treat your income the same way. Second, smart businesses plan for those lean times with financing. Well, your emergency fund? That's your financing. And finally, when businesses have extra cash, they reinvest it. For you, that could mean putting more into your retirement savings, saving for a down payment, or, hey, rewarding yourself with a much-deserved vacation for being such a good CEO. When it all boils down to it, it's this simple. You are not just a worker. You are the chief executive officer of your own financial life. You are the one in charge of payroll, of managing risk, and of strategic planning. Grabbing hold of this mindset is the absolute key to moving from feeling uncertain to feeling truly empowered. So as we wrap this up, I want you to really think like that CEO for a minute. Just look at everything we've gone over today: creating your own predictable paycheck, building that safety net, pricing yourself properly. What is the very first business decision you are going to make for your finances? Is it opening that separate bank account? Is it finally sitting down to calculate your bare bones budget, or setting a real goal for your savings? The power right now is entirely in your hands.